Hey friends! My name is Maddie and I am that Manga Geek and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So a couple days ago I put up a poll on my Instagram story asking you guys what video you wanted to see next, and you voted for my top 5 manga series. All the other options on that poll are video ideas that I'll probably do in the future, so don't worry if your choice didn't win, you will get to see them on my channel eventually. But for today's video, if you want to know what my top 5 manga series are, keep on watching! Before we get into the video, have you ever imagined what it might be like if you could read the Japanese versions of manga or even watch anime in Japanese without any subtitles? I've always wanted to be able to do that, but learning Japanese is obviously complicated and probably expensive. But with Nihongo Master, you can learn Japanese easily from home, and I gotta tell you, their prices definitely a lot cheaper than going to school and trying to learn Japanese, that's for sure. It's a really easy platform to use and it's super smooth, so if you want to start watching anime without those subtitles, check out Nihongo Master today. Click the link in the description below to get started. Alright, so I'm going to do this starting with number 5 and then we'll end on number 1. And with each series, I'll give you like a little bit of a synopsis, so if you're interested in reading it yourself, you can kind of get to know what it's about. Alright, so starting with number 5 is Spy Family. Spy Family is about an undercover agent known as Agent Twilight, who is the greatest spy for the nation of Westalis. At the beginning of the story, Agent Twilight is given a mission to infiltrate an elite private school named Eden Academy, because he has to take down the leader of the school, who just happens to be a politician for the neighboring country, Ostania, who Westalis is sparking a war with. In order to carry out the mission of taking down the politician, Agent Twilight has to create a fake family so he can send his child to Eden Academy. So he assumes the identity of Lloyd Forger, adopts an orphan girl, and marries a City Hall employee. Little does he know, his new daughter is a mind reader, and his new wife is an assassin. I just absolutely love this series. I think it's really unique. Like, I've never really come across a series that is like this. Like, it's really funny, but it's also action-packed, and it also can pull at the heartstrings. And the character dynamics between Lloyd and his fake family are just hilarious. His fake daughter, whose name is Anya, you can kind of see her right there. She's a mind reader or a telepath. And she obviously knows about Lloyd and how he is an undercover spy and trying to take down this politician, as well as also being aware that her mom is an assassin, although they don't know that she knows that, so they think these things in their head about, killing this person or taking down this person, and Anya's just in the corner like freaking out because she has no idea what's actually going on. I promise you, it is just really funny, and it's only 5 volumes right now, so it's super short, and the anime was confirmed for, I believe, next year, so that's really exciting and I cannot wait to see it on screen. But Spy Family is amazing, and it's definitely a new favorite. I just started it like earlier this year or late last year, but it's so good and I highly recommend it. Alright, moving on to number 4, which is Yona the Dawn. So obviously I've mentioned this series a couple times already on my channel. This is only my 3rd video and Yona has made it into all 3, so that right there should tell you how much I love this series. Yona the Dawn is about a young redheaded princess named Yona, who is forced to run away from her palace after her father is assassinated. Although Yona is obviously distraught from the loss of her father, she is not alone. Her guardian Hawk promised her father a long time ago that he would always protect Yona no matter what. But after fighting off the new king's guards, as well as enemies from other territories and countries, Yona finds herself in the middle of an ancient prophecy about 4 dragon warriors who are destined to protect the Crimson Dragon King. Yona found her way to these 4 dragons who just know that she is the Crimson Dragon King. Although Yona's not quite convinced of that, she will use these newfound friends and protectors to take back her beloved nation. There are so many things to love about this series. As I mentioned in my first video, it is a wonderful mix of fantasy and shoujo, and it has that old-timey feeling to it since it's set in an earlier time in Japan. And Yona is just such a wonderful main character. She develops so well throughout the story. At the beginning, she's kind of weak and shy and doesn't really know how to take care of herself, but as you follow her story, she becomes much stronger and much more independent, and she just turns into this brave young woman who isn't afraid to fight for herself or those that she cares about. She is such a wonderful representation for strong women everywhere, and I just absolutely love her character. Even though this series is classified as a shoujo manga, it doesn't really give me a whole lot of shoujo vibes other than the few little romance moments that you do get in the series. It's much more focused on war and the prophecy and the dragons and all of that really cool stuff. So don't worry if you don't like shoujo, I think you'll still really like this one because it's just amazing. Alright, moving on to my third favorite series now, which is Attack on Titan. I probably don't have to give you a synopsis for this one because I'm pretty sure if you're here you've heard of Attack on Titan, what it's about, but just in case you don't know what it's about, I'll give you a synopsis anyway. Attack on Titan is set in a world where humanity lives inside cities surrounded by gigantic walls. These walls serve to protect the cities from titans, who are giant, man-eating, humanoid creatures. The story follows Eren Yeager, who vows to kill every last titan after his mother is unfortunately eaten by one. As we follow Eren on this journey to see his vow to fruition, we find out that it's a much bigger task than Eren or anyone living inside of the walls could have ever imagined. If you follow this series at all, then you know that the manga actually just completed not too long ago. The ending had a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people didn't like it, thought it was a little bit rushed. I personally really loved the ending. I know that's a really unpopular opinion, but I liked it, but a complete review for the series will be a future video, so look out for that. Attack on Titan is one of my favorites and will probably always be one of my favorites because of the absolute genius behind the writing. Hajime Isayama blew me away multiple times while reading the series, and I honestly just don't think I could ever get over some of the plot twists, and he really just proved how good of a writer he is, how good at story building he is, and how good at character development he is, and he is just such an amazing writer. There are points in the story later on that reflect back to events that happened in the very first manga and in the very first chapter even, that just completely blew my mind. You can really tell how much effort and emotion that he puts into writing this while you read it. And honestly, it's just one of the best stories I've ever read, from beginning to end. The world building is absolutely incredible, and the characters are even better. There's a huge cast of characters with this series, and they're all so lovable, which makes it even more painful to read because they probably die. But it just makes it that much better and that much more emotional to read. But I promise you, if you haven't read the manga, it is so worth your time and your money. Alright, moving on to my second favorite, which is My Hero Academia. I know I'm really basic, I have all the popular ones and my favorites, but I don't care. There are so many things to say about the series and why I love it, but first I'll just give you the synopsis. My Hero Academia follows a young teenage boy named Izuku Midoriya who is born into a world where the majority of the population has unique powers known as quirks. To maintain order in this quirk-driven society, people are required to go to school to get a hero license to use their quirks to fight villains. This was Midoriya's dream ever since he saw his favorite hero, All Might, save a bunch of innocent civilians from a tragic accident. But there's a little bit of a problem. Midoriya is quirkless. Right when he starts to believe that his future as a hero is hopeless, someone mighty gives him hope. So that's obviously a very brief view of the world of My Hero Academia. There's so much more to it than just Deku trying to become a hero, but that is the basic idea of the story. Speaking of Deku, I just think he is absolutely the best character to lead the story. He is such a sweetheart and he's so down to earth and he's selfless. And honestly, he just will do anything for anyone that he cares about, even if he puts himself in danger while doing it. Aside from Deku, the series is also full of amazing characters, and the dynamics that go in between each one of them are just so good. And it has such an incredible story. It's obviously not finished yet, but what we have of the manga right now is just absolutely incredible, and there's been so many moments up to this point that, again, have just blown my mind. It's so much more than just a kid trying to become a hero. It's about what it means to be a good person and to really care about those around you. But I'll stop being cheesy and we can move on to the next one. Alright, time to reveal my all-time favorite manga series, which I'm pretty sure most of you have probably already guessed. My favorite manga series of all time is Haikyuu. So as you may have noticed from my Haikyuu tattoo, I kinda like this series a little bit. Haikyuu is about a young high school boy named Shoyo Hinata who fell in love with volleyball after he saw a mere 5' and 4" tall spiker win the National Volleyball Championships for Karasuno High School. In Hinata's first ever volleyball tournament, he meets Kageyama Tobio, otherwise known as the King of the Court. After a pathetic loss for Hinata's team, Hinata vows to Kageyama that he will one day beat him on the court. Then Hinata starts his first year at Karasuno High School, where he joins the volleyball team of his idol. He's super fired up about getting better at volleyball and beating that stupid Kageyama. So you can imagine his utter irritation when he walks into the gym for the first time and sees none other than Kageyama himself. Now that these two are teammates, they have to learn to work together so they can take their team back to the nationals. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would I want to read a manga about volleyball? I know, I thought the same thing when I heard about it, and I thought I was crazy too, but it's so good. Honestly, I don't even know really where to begin about talking about how amazing this series really is. I think the best thing about this series is the incredible cast of characters. This is one of those stories where there are so many characters and you cannot hate any of them. They all have the same passion about volleyball and they all have the same goal. Definitely one of those series where it's really hard to pick a favorite character because there's just so many good ones. But Hinata himself is a wonderful main character for the series. He leads it so well and he just really embodies what it means to put your heart into something and never give up. He really inspires to keep on trying and keep on chasing after your dream, even if everyone tells you you can't. And the greatest part about it is that you don't even have to know anything about volleyball or even like volleyball to still love the series. The mangaka does such a wonderful job of explaining volleyball and making you love it. He actually said when he first started writing this story that he wanted the world to fall in love with volleyball, and I really believe that he achieved that in this story. There's so many more things I can say about this series, but that'll have to wait for a full review video in the future. Alright friends, that was my top 5 manga series. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I definitely want to make some full review videos for a couple of the series that I mentioned today, especially Haikyuu and Attack on Titan. So if you would like to see those two, leave a comment down below, let me know. And as always, if you enjoyed watching, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and go ahead and hit that notification bell so you know when I post new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!